Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about the results from UFC Fight Night Shanghai. It was Johnny Walker versus Zhang Mingyang in the main event. I'm going to talk about all the fighters while it's still fresh in my mind, so we can always go back to these notes and reference it the next time we see these fighters. Talk about the fight card real quick before we get into the fighters. Had a phenomenal prelim. Everything was really dialed in. Even if you see red, we weren't wrong. We knew the way these fights were going to turn out. We told you what not to bet on, all that other stuff. Went great. Go to the main card, had a terrible decision there as far as from my perspective. I had a bad read on Kevin Borjas. I thought he would go out there and bang. He did nothing of the sort. And we missed both Rico Knows bets for the first time ever. And it's just one of these situations where it's the fight game. You know, you can have fights analyzed and assessed, but you can't go in there and fight for them. It's the reality of the situation. At the same time, I got to make the right call. I can make the right pick. So, 2 out of 3 locks is not good enough unless you round robin them. Probably didn't. Probably did these parlays down here, and there you are. Parlays on the year are at 37.5%. No matter how good I am at this stuff, 37.5%. Picking them straights, I'm at 72%, 68%. You go parlay, you're going to lose. And we lost. That's life. All right? So let's go talk about the fighters, though, because I don't care about that. I do care about this, but the fighters is what matters moving forward. So, first fight of the night, Yuran Saltibidaya versus Dair Nurgaze, whatever his name is. Look, man, Dair, I told you, has like this nervous twitch thing. He's got something going on. He's not really there. Homie had no way of winning this fight. He wasn't even remotely close. I don't care about 13 strikes landed and all this. It was not a close fight. Yuran ran right through him. Yuran is exactly what I thought he was when I saw him in his heavyweight debut on short notice against Boudet. I said, yo, that guy put a lot of respect on his name the next time you see him, because he did himself I was going to say a service, but he did himself a whole lot of, I guess service is the right word. He went out there and he proved to everybody, yo, I can bang and I can really do this thing. He throws one punch and puts Dair right on his ass with one punch, and then from there we're grappling on the ground and we're trying to figure things out from there. I don't know where they got the 13 strikes from. Yuran is great. He gets an Ezekiel choke, which is nuts because he was in the guard, which I don't know how you get it off when you're in somebody's guard. You should be in the mount, and then it makes more sense. But he was able to do it because he's 6'4". I think this guy's pretty crafty. I think he hits really hard. Grown man. So the next time we see him, believe in him wholeheartedly. I'm sure they're going to make us pay for it. On the other side over here, DR, we're probably going to get him as an underdog. And that's really good if they give him a scrub to fight, because he can knock somebody out. So maybe we buy on him low. But as far as him fighting another good fighter, he got no chance of winning when he fights a good fighter. Next fight, Zhao Long, Su Young Yu. I told you guys I like Zhao Long. I like the way he looks. I like what he's doing. But unfortunately for him, I don't see him winning this fight because we got a wrestler in front of him, and the wrestler's going to smother him and win by points. Put it up, win by points. Dude, none of that happened. I got it right. We won by points. But what happened is Su Young Yu won by winning the first 2 rounds and piecing this dude up on his feet, which is just crazy. But he did it, and it was just slick. It was movement. All over Twitter, they're talking about how this was a robbery and all this. It wasn't a robbery. Zhao Long won the 3rd round by throwing a bunch of elbows in front of himself. 30 elbows in a row. It looked really weird. Other than that, what Zhao Long showed me is he has no ceiling. He has a very low ceiling. He's in a crawl space. That dude does not bring it the way you want him to. He looks the part. He's been fighting for a very long time. 37 professional fights, and you still don't have the ability to implement your game plan and impose your will on other fighters. It's crazy. So Su Young Yu, being a wrestler, very limited in the fact, I say he's a wrestler. He's not an American wrestler, so he doesn't know how to shoot for takedowns. He's better in the clinch, getting trips, and then being dominant when he's in the dominant body position. But he didn't get any takedowns in this fight. 0 for 6 on takedowns. He has no way to implement his game plan, which is he is a good wrestler. So there's a hole there. Now, if he's going to stand up and strike, he's just like anybody else. He's okay. He actually got outstruck in this fight, but it was all 30 elbows in the 3rd round, so don't worry about that. But he's very crisp. He was slick. He can move. He made people miss, but it's not a very good fight. Not very good fighters, I should say. Then we have Yiza against Weston Wilson. So on the card, it says I picked Weston Wilson. We all know I didn't pick Weston Wilson. There's just no way you should be betting on Yiza at a minus 1,300 or 1,200. Well, apparently there is. Apparently you should have parlayed it with everything, because there was no way in the world Yiza was going to lose this fight. He just came out, wasn't worried about anything, and just throw caution to the wind and beat the hell out of Weston Wilson, who, by the way, Weston Wilson landed 0 strikes in this fight. It was over in 37 seconds, and he landed 0 strikes in this fight. Weston Wilson flew all the way to China to be a literal sacrificial lamb. And we'll never see Weston Wilson again. He does not belong in the UFC. He never has. He never will. He sucks. That guy's bad, bro. He's not a real fighter. And Yiza, he's tough and he is good, but it isn't what you think, right? Oh well. Next fight, I told you, Michel Pereira. I use this analogy, MVPs. Michel Pereira will never have the same confidence he once had before. And I talked about this in me. I had all the confidence in the world the first time I ever walked into the ocean until a wave knocked me over. And then from that day forward, I don't walk into the ocean like that anymore. I now know how powerful waves are. And I'm in the ocean. I'm very cautious of what the waves can do to me and how deep I want to go and how far I want to go and how big those waves are. I'm 100% aware of the fact that I'm still much stronger than I was. I'm still athletic. I'm still all this, but I know what's better than me. I know what's bigger than me and stronger than me. It's the ocean. And I say that because Michel Pereira used to be a fearless fighter, and he used to go out there and do all kinds of acrobatic things and throw caution to the wind and be this athletic beast of a man. He's got every muscle in the world, and that's what he looks like. But he's been in the ocean, and it knocked him over, and he has no other way to go into a fight now than to be cautious and know that, hey, this can knock me over. So what he's doing is when he goes in these fights, he's fighting like he's going to be there for 3 rounds. He's no longer fighting like he wants to win in the first round. And as a matter of fact, it doesn't really matter what he wants to do. He can't do it anymore. He has no confidence. So in that case, I tell you, take Kyle Dawkins. Like, Doc is on a 4-5 win streak, and he's got that dog in him. As long as he don't get slept, and I think he fought some really good fighters when he was back in the UFC earlier. And now that he's back, let's go. Super proud of him. And he went out there and made me a profit. And he won. I was right. So shout out to me. Pick Kyle Dawkins outright. The only thing I feel bad about is I told a lot of MVPs live, let's see if we make it out the first round. We didn't make it out the first round. He knocked this man silly. He beat the shit out of this dude. We didn't make it out the first round. So that's the only thing I feel bad about. But that doesn't count as a miss or hit bet. It's just guidance. So it is what it is. Next fight. Dialed in, bro. Dialed in. First lock of the night. Rong Zhu versus Austin Hubbard. Hubbard's not a bad fighter. He can be in the fight. But Rong Zhu has really good striking. And he just sticks and moves. Handles distance well. Spacing well. And he goes out there and he wins this fight. Just a clean scrap. And he wins 30-27 on one card, 29-28 on the other 2 cards. But it is just a clean scrap. One thing I'll give him a lot of credit for, there was 2 takedowns in this fight. He got back up to his feet on both of them, and Hubbard shot 12 takedowns. Now, Rong Zhu was sprawling, but it's a little slow on the sprawl. A little slow. It's like a delayed reaction for him. It's something he's probably training in the gym, but he doesn't do it naturally. Not like if he was a 6-year-old wrestler his whole life or something. So we need to remember that. If Rong Zhu gets in a fight with an elite wrestler who has the ability to throw and bang a little bit, but there's an elite wrestler in there, he will get taken down. His sprawls are a little slow. Rong Zhu's nice on the feet, though. If we're keeping it crispy and we're doing stand-up, yeah, you're gonna run into a decent fighter here. No knockout power. A lot of touching with leather, scoring points, circling away from power hands, circling away from danger. Like, he's just great. Rong Zhu fights the right way. And we called that. Shout out to us. That should have been the Rico Knows Better the night. Instead, I blew it. Next fight. Gave you guys some guidance here. I told you don't even think about betting on this fight. Told you to watch it, enjoy it for what it is. And everybody out there in the world who keeps saying Loner Kavanaugh is going to win this fight, I don't agree with that premise that he is the knock. I want him to win, but I don't agree with him being a lock. I don't agree with him being a parlay piece because Charles Johnson is much bigger than him. Much bigger. And Charles Johnson's been to the deep end and beat some people. So Loner Kavanaugh, I just don't feel that way. I'm going to cheer for him. I hope he wins. But I don't think you should ever put a dime on this. And what happens? Loner Kavanaugh comes out and looks exactly like we thought he would. Crisp, clean, killer prospect. What's his problem? I don't think he's faced adversity in his life. So what Loner Kavanaugh did in this fight was, for whatever reason, he went and used muscles he normally doesn't use. I want to make that very clear. You went and used muscles he normally doesn't use. Like if you run on a treadmill at the gym every day, that's cool. And your muscles are used to it and you're doing great. The minute you go out and try to do a cross-country route or go run hills or run up a very high elevation, you'll be broke the hell off because there's nothing like your treadmill. This guy trains, and he's great at striking, and he's awesome. And he decided to try to show Charles Johnson, I can grapple with you. And went and shot for a takedown, did a reversal, got a takedown, got a nice trip. At some point, he transitioned into a double leg, picked him up in the air, slammed him down. Try to show him there's levels to all of this, right? What Loner Kavanaugh did was use his entire gas tank. And when you use your gas tank in that regard in the second round or the first round, there's no reason to do that. You have to shake out your arms at that point. You use your arms in a way they've never been used. You're used to throwing combos. I can tell Loner Kavanaugh has hit the tie pads a lot in his life, throws a lot of combos, beats up heavy bags, all that stuff. I can tell he also has not wrestled a lot in his life. While he's very athletic and he's skilled at it, it's not a natural thing for him because his arms were gone. And when your arms get gone, the first thing you want to do is shake them out. You're trying to shake your arms out, get the lactic acid out of them or whatever. And what you no longer do is project your jawline. Your hands aren't up to protect your face. And you saw it at one point before the knockout. If you go back and watch it, he just, for no reason, puts his butt on the cage and bounces off of it. Like he used the wall to help himself stand. That's a sign you're exhausted. That's a sign you're tired. If you're leaning on furniture, you're leaning on something just to stand. And that's what he did. He bounced off the cage just to stand, hands down, backing away. You're going to get knocked out. Shout out to Charles Johnson. He throws something that doesn't even look that hard, but it's hard enough to knock you out. I want you to think about that. He's throwing strikes that don't look hard, but they're still hard enough to knock you out if you don't protect your jawline. I hope the kid learns from this, Loner Kavanaugh. You can't go out there and start wrestling just because you want to prove to us you're a wrestler. You are a tremendous striker. You could have won that fight just by striking on the outside the whole time. Watch Aljamain Sterling and what he did. It's the same concept. Aljamain Sterling put on a master class of movement, striking, and domination and just did it for 25 minutes. Loner Kavanaugh did not do that. Loner Kavanaugh is a kid, went out there immature, young, still trying to learn, and he found himself on the losing end. And this is a prime example of why UFC is so difficult. Because you have a minus 250 favorite who has every advantage in the world, and he's still going to lose the fight. In football, that won't happen. That won't happen in football. It happens in the UFC all the time. Shout out to Charles Johnson. He looked the part. He was out there to fight. Now, I do want to say he had a speed issue. He was getting beat up, but he's still got a dog in him. He's still a lot bigger than most of the guys he's fighting at this weight class. And this is 125, guys. Loner Kavanaugh is small for 125. There's nowhere else for him to go. There's no atom weight division. There's nowhere else for Loner Kavanaugh to go. What Loner needs to do, because he's so short and small, he needs to get more muscle. More muscle. But more importantly, he needs to really focus on his cardio and understand what his fight style is and who he's going to be. He needs to be on his P's and Q's for 15 minutes straight or knock somebody out. One of the two. So if you're fighting a guy that's a veteran you're not going to knock out, then we got to know, are you going to go out there and stay energy efficient for 15 minutes straight? And it didn't happen. Next fight, we got it right. Shout out to me. Gage Young beating Machate. I just told you, Gage Young, he's a good fighter. He knows what he's doing. Machate's huge. He goes out there and he's huge. But the reality is Gage Young is a crafty dude. He throws all the right things, does all the right things. Gage Young is not an exceptional athlete. He does not hit exceptionally hard. Do not believe he's ever going to go out there and bang somebody down and beat him up and break him. Machate got no chin, and you land 131 strikes on him, and he was never in danger. Because Gage Young's strikes never make you go, ooh, ah, like the way the Chinese crowd was going tonight. Gage Young just never wows you like that. And I noticed that when he was fighting Evan Elder, and we were in the Apex. Everything Evan Elder threw, you heard it. It sounded and had a thud and an impact. Everything Gage Young threw, it's good enough to be in the UFC, but it's never going to give you that thud or impact. That's important from judge optics. But in this particular fight, he had more of a dog in him. He was ready to go. He was ready to bang, and he got it done. Very proud of him, and I'm proud of myself for picking him. Yes, he was a slight favorite, but a lot of people were on a Chinese parlay and took Machate. That's why his odds were so low when a guy that should have been losing. Big time. Next fight. We called it. First round knockout. Kiefer Crosby is a terrible fighter, and Kiefer Crosby, for whatever reason, is an absolute moron because he could have won this fight by DQ. This Niraji dude comes out and throws an illegal knee to a down fighter, and it was a brutal illegal knee. I don't care if you take 2 points away from him. It does not matter. I'd go out there and land that brutal, horrible, illegal knee every fight if they're only going to take 2 points away from me and let me keep scrapping and beat up that dude. Shout out to whoever was it Mark Goddard that let the fight go on more? Yeah, Mark Goddard let it go. And here we go. We get a win and a TKO first round knockout. Just a vicious fighter. We should never see Kiefer Crosby again. I called Kiefer Crosby Kiefer Sutherland, right? Because he's dead. Bro, this guy's not real. Okay. Very good fighter from China. Great elbows, great striking. Believe in this kid. What I saw on the regional scene, I saw in this fight. Now, his next fight, Vegas is going to make you pay for him, but we'll see who he fights next. They might give him another freebie to go knock people out. And then, then we start going, law of averages catches up with you. And that's exactly what this is. This fight game is, man. You can get ahead, you can get everything right, and then you just get it wrong. And this one was a misread. Kevin Borjas, you fight for 15 minutes and you land 23 strikes. That is embarrassing. 23 strikes. I think you should be cut from the UFC. 23 strikes in 15 minutes and an all-striking fight. There was no takedowns. You were trying to get takedowns because they told you Sumadarji can't grapple. Sumadarji showed me that he had grappling defense. Maybe Borjas can't grapple at all. 0 takedowns from both guys. So now we're just striking. Kevin Borjas is a good striker. He was not in this fight. I think he was scared and intimidated. Sumadarji is very tall and very long and was able to just piece him up from the outside and really bad. And this is the first time I can remember in probably 2 or 3 months, 2 months, I can remember just misevaluating a fight. It's one thing to miss. It's one thing to get it wrong because a guy gets knocked out or caught or clipped or whatever. Like, that happens in UFC all the time. You didn't get it wrong in your assessment. It's the UFC. It's very volatile. But in this particular fight, my read was wrong. Borjas is not a gangster. Was not ready to go scrap. Didn't do anything right. And I don't miss like that too often. So it's stuck with me. It bothers me. Shout out to me for missing. Next fight, Sergey Pavlovich is still a great heavyweight. My goodness, he was throwing them things. And Waldo Cortez Acosta's got the chin from all chins, bro, because he stood in there and took that beating. Now, Waldo Cortez Acosta, at no time was he a threat to win this fight, even though they were banging like this. And the reason for that is Sergey, in the pocket and in the striking department, is very, very nuanced, just very seasoned at subtle things, shoulder rolls, protecting his jawline, feints, uppercuts, defending himself. Everything about him was great. The angles, everything. It's just a little craftiness. You can't really tell because you're watching two heavyweights and you think they're just banging and swinging like they're chopping down a tree or whatever, but that's not the case. He's actually a really good fighter. So Sergey looked great, got the win. I told you I believe in him because he's 20-3. He's been fighting for a decade, and he doesn't lose. Like, he doesn't take losing. Like, it just doesn't happen. I'm not going to tell you that Sergey's going to lose to Waldo Cortez Acosta when he's only lost to a drugged-out Overeem, a former champ, and then one of the best fighters in the world. Like, it's just, you got to be a name of all names, not an up-and-coming fighter. And Waldo Cortez Acosta and his 10 kids, he's an up-and-coming fighter. He's still very good. He's athletic. He's got a little bounce to his step. Talks too much. Wastes a lot of energy talking and complaining about things, and I don't like that. But Sergey, professional, came through in the clutch. Shout out to him. Love that they banged for 3 rounds, and it wasn't a boring heavyweight fight. Next fight, speaking of boring, Brian Ortega. This was an easy one, made it a lock. I told you Aljamain Sterling's winning this fight. I felt like he had advantages on the feet and in grappling and in wrestling. The only chance Brian Ortega has to win any fight is if he catches you in a guillotine when you're shooting a takedown on him, and he'll close it up and he'll win by guillotine. I think this guy is a shell of himself. He reminds me of Tony Ferguson going down the path of never winning a fight moving forward. Like, lose 7 fights in a row. UFC won't cut you. They're going to keep giving you big-name fighters to fight, and you'll never win any of them. I'm serious. Brian Ortega sucks. You got to fade him every chance you get. You're going to get favorable odds, whatever it is. And look, I make my videos later in the week. If you hear a Brian Ortega fight is announced, go on it. Go get on it right now before everybody else, before anything else. You got to go get it early because I think this one didn't open at a 600, right? It opened like a 300 and a +2 or something like that. Like, yeah, just go fade him as fast as possible. Brian Ortega will never win another fight in the UFC. He doesn't bring anything to the table. And if they're going to keep giving him these elite prospects, or I'm sorry, these elite fighters, period, they're going to keep giving him ranked opposition because he was once on a fight card. Right? This fight didn't have any business going 5 rounds. It was over after 3 rounds. But here we are for 5 rounds. Why? Because Ortega and Sterling should be the main event, but we're in China. So they're not going to make them the main event. But they should be, right? They're much higher ranked fighters than the 2 guys on the poster. And so they give him 5 rounds, and it's trash. Absolute trash. Shout out to Aljamain Sterling. You can't really take him. Whoever they pair him up with moving forward, I don't see how he can beat anybody above him in the rankings. He has a very limited skill set. It's going to be striking with no knockout power, good foot movement, and he has the ability to wrestle and grapple when he needs to. The guys ahead of him are either better wrestlers, more dynamic athletes and strikers, or a combination of the two. I just don't see how Aljamain Sterling beats anybody ahead of him. And he keeps calling out guys ahead of him. It's fucking crazy. He needs to fight. Like, I would have called out, hey, give me one of these young bucks trying to make it up here. That's what I would have said on the mic if I'm Aljamain Sterling. I'm not calling out Volkanovski and asking for a title shot. I'm calling out somebody moving up. Give me one of these prospects. Give me the Loner Kavanaughs of the world. That type of shit. But shout out to Aljamain Sterling. Got it done. Clutch. Came through. And then the main event. Main event, guys, I have a rule. Broke the rule, and you learn face first why you never break the rule, right? So the rule is main events are never locks because it'll ruin your parlay, it'll ruin your night, it'll leave a bad taste in your mouth at the end of the day. So we never do it. We never parlay. We never make it a lock. You go back and check all the fight cards. It's not something I do. I might have done it twice in the last... I think I've done it 3 times the last 40-something cards. And here we go. I thought we had such an advantage. There's no other way I would take this. By the way, I don't question the decision making I did. I only question that I made it a lock and put it in a parlay. I don't question. There's nothing in this world analytical that would make me ever pick Johnny Walker to win this fight. Nothing. And as I watch the fight, there's really nothing that would make me want to pick Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's not a good fighter. His body language sucks. His optics suck, which means he'll lose on judges' scorecards. His chin is worse than anything. And Zhang Mingyang, well, apparently, he's not about that life. Apparently, he's not a gangster. He lost because of a calf kick, a peroneal nerve kick. I'm going to tell you what bothered me more about this is I just watched them raise the winning hand, and as they're announcing the winners and the scorecards and the method in which it was won, he's laughing and joking. And he's talking to Johnny Walker, like laughing. He's a nice Asian guy. He don't have a killer instinct in him. There's just no way. There's no way you lose this fight like that. And it felt like once you lose your knockout power, you go punching. You ever seen a guy punch a window? Have you ever seen a guy punch a window and it doesn't break and his hand hurts and then he just stops and he's like, I can't punch that window anymore. Yeah, you can. And if you did it enough, eventually that window's going to break or your hand's going to break. But you just stopped because you think it won't happen. Right? I think Zhang Mingyang hit Johnny Walker as hard as he could. He didn't fall. And he just stopped. Like he just didn't have it anymore. He wants out. He's not here for this. It's crazy. It's embarrassing for his whole country. Getting knocked out in front of everybody. I'm sure those Chinese guys are pissed. Not as pissed as me, bro. I called Kim. I believed in this one. And that's the UFC. Johnny Walker's still a bad fighter. I don't know who the fuck he's calling out. Called out Jan Blachowicz. Guys, put your whole life savings on Jan Blachowicz. But you miss. And it is what it is. So, let's pull up the card. On the year, to this point, locks are at a 72.5%, which is pretty good. Not good enough. Leans are at a 68.46%, all-time high compared to last year, so we're doing good there. Value bets, 40%. Congratulations. Parlays, 37.59%, not good. By the way, up here, Rico knows best plays. We were 9-1 going into this. We missed both of them, now 9-3. I fucking feel terrible about that. Okay, what's the percentage on that? 9 out of 12. Sorry. Don't mean to make sausage in front of you guys. Give me a second here. So we're at a 75% now. So it's no different from the other locks at this point. And I apologize. We got to get better. Next thing I want to say is parlay and prop locks. The only 2 parlays we had were these that were prop locks and came out to 55%. We missed 2. Next one, we're knocking these out. And you guys got to stop ignoring this, okay? This is what I'm talking about right here. This is the spot that I feel is most advantageous for you to make money every single week right here. And it's not the percentage. It's the fact that these are parlays and props that hit at 60.5%. And it's over here. It's by points at plus 150. It's the TKO over here. Every time I make a prop that's black, like this, or like this, it hits way better than everything. It's just something, just food for thought. Value, didn't have any as far as the parlays go. And that's it. Props overall, doing really well. Props are doing really well. When I give you a method, TKO or by points, we went 2-0 tonight. We're at 55% when doing props straight across. That's pretty damn good because most of the time props are better odds than the actual fights. So that right there is the bee's fucking knees. If you bet, that's on you. Some are better than others. If you're out here doing parlays and all this other stuff, like, there it is. You keep playing the 37%, but the straights are right there. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Good luck, MVPs.